Hey folks, thought we'd come out and hang out with you guys in the Binzebo today. Got a beautiful Nebraska afternoon, evening. Let's see if we can get you all on here. Let me show you our view out across the road over here. Gorgeous night out here. So we had softball to go to tonight, but due to the weather down where the games were, everything got rained out. So we got a nice evening at home, got dinner done, cooked some chicken and some salad for Kelly, and I had some pork chops. I eat the pork chops. Kelly's not that big a fan of pork. She'll eat like boneless stuff with the fat cut off and everything like that. But that's about the only kind of pork she likes. Hello, Country Dad. I see you popped on there. Your garden's looking great. I watched your guys' last video. Looking real good. Make sure you keep making them videos. See. Trying to see if I can do this to where I got the messages on my other phone. All right, looks like I got it going on. John Smith is here. I don't know if we've ever spoke before, John. Nice to see you. Welcome to the channel. Hope you all got your gardens in. It's turning out to be a pretty good garden season here in Nebraska. We didn't get one last year, so we've got our hopes up for this year. But we've got a great start on the garden. Everything's coming up real nice. We've had a little rain here and there. There's Country Fun just shows up. Yep, you got birds in the background. But we're real impressed with the garden so far, especially the onions. The onions are going gangbusters. It's the first time I've ever used the little onion bulbs. Usually we buy the plants. If you've been watching our videos, I explained that before. But we're real impressed with these little bulbs this year. Country Dad said he's getting some rain. You're probably glad to get it down there. We're getting a lot of rain here down south, but it's skipping us today. It's staying down around Interstate 80 down there. It looks like they're getting plenty of it. But the rain we did get here really boosted the plants in the garden. If you've watched our recent videos, it's doing really well. It loves the rain. So let's see some updates here. If you've watched the previous videos, you've pretty much got the updates. So just wanted to hang out with you guys in the bin, answer any questions that you may have if you haven't been with us very long. We got our free compost the other day. We were glad to get that. We're going to use all of that. Got some more welding projects coming up. We have some friends coming in from California on the 11th, I believe. They'll be here. And they're going to stay for a couple weeks. We're going to have a good time. We're going down. Hi, Terry. How you doing? That's all right. You're not that late, Terry. We just started pretty much. But we're going to go down to the Red Power Roundup in Grand Island, Nebraska. It's the international tractor show, I believe, antique tractors. Just about everything IH will be there. Yes, Nebraska, Terry McKinney says she heard that Nebraska has some flooding. If you're in those areas where they're getting lots of rain, yes, there's flooding. It just depends on where the weather is. We haven't had any flooding to speak of around here in our area, but if we were to get 5 inches of rain in a half hour, we'd definitely get some. But I heard there was tornado sirens down around Kearney today, and lots of rain. McCook's been getting a lot of rain. McCook's getting hammered. They're kind of southwest Nebraska, more southwest towards Colorado. But McCook's been getting hammered with storms and tornadoes and such down there. Mom's here, asking if it's raining at our place. No, it's not. It's just a beautiful day, kind of a little partly cloudy. It cooled off real nice, which my peppers don't like out in the garden. Peppers don't like cool nights. They like to have nights not lower than 50, 55 degrees. So our peppers are struggling a little bit. But no flooding around here. Let's see, what were we talking about before I got sidetracked with the flooding? Oh, we got our compost the other day. That was a nice haul from the guy I haul corn for. And they're going to be doing a composting seminar over at their place here in a week or so. We're going to try to get some footage from that. The guy that we work for actually makes a compost tea out of that compost that we've got, if you didn't watch that video. And they put that into the irrigation pivots for irrigation. And we were talking about the Red Power Roundup that we're going to when my friends come from California out in Grand Island, Nebraska. It's supposed to be a real big international harvester show. So that's going to be cool to go to. I believe it's the 16th, 17th, and 18th. But if you're really interested, you'd want to go look that up. Just look up Red Power Roundup. It'll pop up 2023. And then something else exciting in our area, that very same weekend as the Red Power Roundup, they're having a huge tractor sale here locally. One of our local well-known guys here in town, his name's Perry Myers. He owns the Iron Salvage Company. He's been collecting tractors for years, and that's a good business to be in if you collect tractors. He's restored a bunch of them and showroom quality paint jobs on them. We have a video on his good collection. I think it's called A Pink John Deere and some other old guys messing around or something. It's in our playlist if you want to see that. But he's got some neat old tractors. Anyway, he's got a huge collection of over 300 antique tractors, lots of old iron over in his yard, his salvage yard over there. He's got them all lined up by make and model and all that. And I wanted to actually go do a auction preview video walking through the yard to show you just the sheer scope of what this auction's going to be. It's going to be that same weekend, I believe the 16, 17, 18, somewhere in there. But it's going to be a 2-day auction, online and in person. So you can be online bidding on live, whatever's being bid on at the time. But it's going to be a huge auction. So I wanted to go kind of look at that and see how that goes. I'd love to have a little farm all cub, but it's just be another project sitting around the homestead here, and it would just be a play toy, and I got enough play toys already. What did Terry McKinney ask? Is that the Binzebo you're sitting in? Yes, it is. It's the Binzebo here on the homestead that we built. Not all the way complete yet, but very near completion. Just like all of our projects, they're kind of in progress. And Terry also says, I bet you go to those monster tractor events, don't you? Not a lot of them, but that one's going to be fairly close, so we're going to go to that one. We used to go to the International Ag Expo out in California, which is down in Tulare, California. Humongous show. You couldn't walk that show in 3 days, I don't think. Huge show. We used to go to that. They hold it every February, about mid-February. They do a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, midweek every year. Most of the time it rains, so you got to wear your mud shoes. But huge, huge event. They have the best steak sandwiches there. It's amazing. There's a school that has a booth there on the grounds, and you can always tell which booth it is because there's lines. They've got about 15 windows that you can get your sandwiches from, and it's always clear, backed up across the roadway because this whole event is crisscross roadways. And best steak sandwich you ever have. It's a nice little slice of New York steak on like a garlic roll. Oh man, it's amazing, making my mouth water just think about it, and I've already had dinner. Got another message come in. Terry McKinney says it's sun shining. Got the sunglasses on, her happy face there. I forgot where you're at, Terry. Sorry, I've got so many people I try to remember. Can't have much sunshine because it should be starting to get dark out that direction. If you're in California, you still got plenty of sunshine today. A couple more hours anyway. The sun's been shining here till about just a little bit after 9. It seems like it goes down. Or not sun, but it's light outside. Get lots of work done this time of year. Let's see, what else? That's about the most of the events coming up. Got lots of softball and baseball this time of year, which is great. We love going to watch the kids do that. They're pretty good athletes. Let's see, Diane Richards is here. Hello, Diane. How are you doing today? Terry says they're from Michigan. That's right. Love that state. Beautiful state up there. I've been there a couple times. First time I went to Michigan, I went to Lansing, Michigan to pick up a fire truck chassis back when I was building fire trucks in Oakdale, California, cowboy capital of the world. I flew to Michigan and drove that fire truck chassis all the way back to California. Terry says it's 90 today in Michigan. Wow, that's pretty warm for Michigan. And Diane's in Michigan too. Awesome. Second time I went to Michigan was for sonar training. I was the sergeant on the dive team underwater recovery unit with our sheriff's department out in California, and we had a new sonar unit that scanned the bottom of whatever water, body of water we were in. And it really cut down on our bottom time when we were diving. We could find stuff a lot quicker. So they sent us to Traverse City, Michigan to learn that sonar unit. It was a sonar class. It was a nice class. We learned a lot in that class. We actually got to go out on Lake Michigan and find some shipwrecks that were out there and run the sonar on those. It was really fun. It was a week-long class, had some good food there in Traverse City. It was really fun times. Beautiful state. Everything's so lush and green, just like it here is in Nebraska when it rains. But very, very cool. Let's see, Marlo is here. Marlo says, well, hello there. Still canning in my digital canner like crazy. Thanks again for the advice. Yeah, that thing's going to fill your pantry. We actually bought two. I bought one, and then Kelly bought a second one as a surprise. And I'm glad we got the two, because about the time it takes to process, I can get the other one filled and get it processing. And I could actually probably use three, but that would just be way too much. But I could put three in a rotation and pretty much be moving nonstop. With two, there's a little break in between, and it's good to take a break. But we're going to fill our pantry up. Knock on wood. That's not real wood, but there's some over there I'll knock on in a minute. But hopefully the garden year we have keeps going and we can get some tomatoes again, because we're down to about 5 quarts of tomatoes, believe it or not. We went in year before last with 40 quarts of tomatoes. We didn't get hardly any tomatoes last year, not enough to can at all, because we had that late freeze where we couldn't plant out. We were like a month and a half, 2 months late. And then we got an early freeze in the fall that killed all of our tomatoes and just devastated us because we were just starting to get red tomatoes where we could start processing them. But we picked a few red ones that were out there and ate them fresh, and we made some green ones into green taco sauce, and that's all the tomatoes we got. So very fortunate. The year before we had 40 quarts. But that just goes to show you, folks, when you have the abundance, you need to put that stuff away because you're not always going to have it. Just like the pears and the apples, we had a bumper crop year 2 years ago, and then nothing last year. So we've still got some pears and some apples in the root cellar, but we're running low. So if things go their course, like it's going right now, we have some apples set out on the tree. My neighbor said he's got some, probably some pears coming on. So, yeah, we're hoping we get the year that we're looking at right now because we're going to put our digital pressure canner to work too. We are going to, we need to get that root cellar stocked again. Got some more people coming on. Country Fun, what is your opinion on all the gardening apps that line out your planting times, harvest times for each season? Have you used any, or do you prefer to just figure it out all on your own? California, I obviously had it dialed in because I grew up there, so we always knew what time to plant stuff. Now, there was a learning curve coming here to Nebraska, and then I relied a lot on my Ryan down at our garden center here in town. He filled me in, and plus all the coffee guys I have coffee with 3 times a week down at the Tumbleweed, they all garden, so I got some good advice from them on when to plant stuff. So it's been working out pretty well. I've never really used an app for that, and even with the app doesn't take in consider the forecast and all that, because normally planting out regular season crops, not like peas and onions and all that you can plant early. Regular season crops, we're not planting out till the very earliest, May 1st. Most people will tell you May 15th, but you can roll the dice if you look at the forecast. But we went to around the middle of May, and of course we checked the forecast that you got to do. Look out as far as that forecast will go. We almost got bit this year. There was one day that jumped down into 31.8 degrees, only 0.2 below freezing, and we got a little burn, but it didn't kill everything, so we were fortunate with that. But it was a scare, definitely a scare. Woke up to the, this was actually after Kelly getting bought me, and it was scary. But right now, looking great. I think we're beyond any chance of freeze now that we're into June. The latest I've ever seen it snow here was the first part of May. So I think we're okay. But never tried an app. Sorry, that's a long answer. But I did get a lot of help here locally. A little bit Swiss. Is it possible to have too many canners? No. If I could show you my storage area, I have both my grandmother's old pressure canners that I used forever, even up till the time we got these digital ones. I've got another one that I purchased at an auction. That's the taller one that you can double stack, like pints in, and quarts and pints or whatever you want to do, even though the timing's different on those. And then got the water bath. I think I got 2 water bath pots. And then now we got the 2 Presto digital canners. So we got quite a collection going on. I'm giving my grandmother's canner to my brother when he comes up because he wants that one. And then I'm giving another one to a local lady here that we're friends with. She wants to get into canning, so I'm going to provide one for her because they're not cheap. Those big heavy-duty pressure canners are expensive. So we're going to cull some of the stuff out. We got a supply closet full of stuff. We used to do a lot of catering and stuff too. So we're geared up for that and have a lot of supplies for that too. I've got big pots, little pots. All my stock pots are out there, so we've got a shelf in the garage that we keep all that on. My little Sammy's here, my youngest, just graduated college. Real proud of her. Everybody say hi to Sam. Let's see what Sammy's got to say. Hello from me and Jared, getting ready to make dinner. Just got home from work and I'm pooped from the week. Well, get some rest, kid, and call me one of these days. I'd like to shoot the breeze with you. Marlo asks, one of the great things about canning is that you know the quality of the food. Yes, you do. That is fantastic. Good, healthy stuff. Might buy a second one. We really love having the second one. I highly recommend it. It works out good. You can kind of get in that rotation, and these Presto digital canners don't do the quantity that those big pressure canners did. I can do, I believe it was 7-quart jars in one of the big pressure canners, and then the Presto I think does 4 around and 1 in the middle, quart jars. It takes a little longer, but I'm all for it being able to walk away, because with the old big pressure canners, you got to sit there and babysit that thing for sometimes 90 minutes at a time, and you can't walk away because your pressure and temperatures fluctuate. You gotta maintain that. So these digital canners are a game changer, folks. Can't say enough about them. I would recommend getting 2 if you've got the funds to do that. Let's see. Easy Cooking with Linda B. How you doing, Linda? Watched your latest video. Loved it. If you didn't know, Easy Cooking with Linda B, she's got her own YouTube channel. Started it not too long ago with her husband, Bob. Every now and then, Bob will pop into the videos. She's got a lot of good recipes on there. Show her some love. Go check her out. A little bit Swiss. Hi, Sam. She said hi. Everybody saying hi to Sam. Thank you. How's little John Deere engine coming along? Funny you ask. I just ordered yesterday all of the pieces that I need to do the tear down and put back together. And they gave me no idea what the shipping was. I ordered it from Flywheel Supply. I don't know if you've heard of them, but if anything hit and miss or old engines, Flywheel Supply is the place. They've everything you need, all the parts. It's amazing. So I've got all the parts coming. I bought a gasket kit. I bought some the right size bolts to mount the magneto, because it takes high crown bolts of different length. There are 2 bolts and they're both different. I've got a water hopper drain. I got a new kind of air intake cover because I'm missing that. And I got a whole new fuel line and all the gaskets, the complete gasket kit, and some rings for the piston. So we should have everything covered. I have the magneto and the igniter back from the guy that I had rebuilding. He did a phenomenal job. Beautiful. Everything's brand new on those. He completely rebuilt both of them. And he added the parts I was missing. He replaced them, the little cover that was cracked. This guy's dialed in. In fact, when my buddy comes from California, we're going to go visit that guy. I'm going to try to do a video of his shop. It's just amazing. But that video is coming real soon there, Country Dad. Thanks for asking. Let's see. Mom, hi, Sam. Mom's also asking if I got a lot accomplished today. I got more accomplished yesterday, more done yesterday. Because today I was planning on going to softball, so I made and edited a video today for, I think, day after tomorrow. And cleaned up my vehicle because everybody was going to ride with me. I switched it from dog carrying mode to people carrying mode. But we got told everything got rained out down there. So there's just going to be more games tomorrow. We'll head down there tomorrow. But yesterday got a lot done. Went around, hoed around the garden a little bit. And then we put the wheel hoe through the garden because the rain had some weeds coming up in the walk path. And Went into town. We're on the fertilizer program for the lawn at our local seed store. So they sent us the postcard in the mail saying our next batch of fertilizer was due to be put on and come pick it up. So I called ahead and ordered that and hauled some corn and picked that up, and then came home, mowed the lawn, and spread the fertilizer before I went back into town for more softball yesterday. So it was a busy day yesterday, Mom. Let's see. Diane Richards, I just bought the Nesco digital canner. I did not know that there was another brand out there. It holds 7 quarts. Oh, you had to go and tell me that, didn't you? Now I'm going to be searching that one online to get the bigger one. So I've heard the name Nesco before, so I know they've been around a while. I'm going to have to look that up, Diane. I had no idea that they had a 7-quart canner. That's pretty cool. I'm glad there's more out there, because people were just, if you told them you're canning in a digital canner, they would just lose their mind online. You can't do that. It's not approved. And I've been doing it ever since I had my little digital regular pressure cooker. Been doing pint jars and that forever, because I know it does 15 psi, and you can't get to 15 psi without being 250 degrees or whatever. I think it's 250 degrees that you need to come to do the canning in a pressure canner. But if it's getting to 15 psi, it's 250 degrees, you're fine. But people would just lose it if you told them you were using it. Easy Cooking with Linda B. Mark, I have been trying to catch with your videos. Getting crazy. Bobby's wedding must be Bob Jr. is next Saturday. That's probably who you were doing the party favors for, huh? So congratulations, Bob Jr. getting married. Linda, looks like the guests are going to be eating well. Just seen your recipe. Yep. Diane Richards, it's half the price of the Presto. Really? That's really interesting. Can you please let me know how that goes when you get that, and give me a little review on that, because that's pretty interesting. So Nesco canner, pressure canner. If you could provide me with like the model number or whatever, that would be fantastic. Did you find it on Amazon or local store, or where did you come across that? Mason's here. How you doing, Mason? Saw you this morning. He's the son of the family that I drive all corn for. Glad to see Mason on board here. Thank you, Diane. Mason, you got to come out and drive truck with me so you can learn how to do that, since you need to be doing that soon. As soon as you get your driver's license, your dad's going to put you in that truck, so you better learn how to do it. Diane Richards says it's on Amazon. Thank you, Diane. I'm good, Mason. Hope you're doing well. I got back from driving the other day. We've been parking the truck in their yard, and all the kids were already out swimming in the pool. So that had to be a little chilly. But fantastic family that I work for. Really, really like all of them. Real nice people. Getting to where I had to tell the farmer that I work for the other day that I better not be your plan A, because I don't know if my back is going to handle a lot of this, doing stuff here on the homestead and going and driving truck. I don't need to drive truck. I do it basically to help them out, because labor is hard to come by these days, and especially somebody that knows how to do stuff and been around a little while. And it's hard to get people that are reliable anymore, it seems like. And I like to think I'm reliable, but I told him, I said, I hope you got a plan B, because if it gets to where I can't do the stuff here on the homestead because my back's hurting all the time, I'm going to have to cut back, and so I can stay in the well zone. If you've been around the channel, you know I've been nursing my back for a couple months already now, but I'm on the mend. That's the good news. I'm feeling better all the time. So everything's going fine, and I've been hauling corn, and it hasn't been hurting anything. So far so good. Let's see here. Marlo, have you spread the compost yet? No, it's still sitting in that pile. I cleaned the pile up a little bit. Kelly's got some plans for it. We have some roses along the front fence out here that she wants to put her border around, similar to what she did around the flower beds in the front of the house with those landscape timbers. And then she wants to use some of that mulch in there, or the compost as mulch. And then I have some more I want to add to the garden because there's some stuff where it's thinner than I would like it. So I need to wheelbarrow some in there and use some of that. So we'll be using it very soon. And after I go to that compost seminar they're going to put on, I might start making compost tea here on the homestead, you know, a smaller version of what they do, because we could introduce that right into the drip system and use that for fertilizer. I don't put commercial fertilizer on the garden. All it is the compost that we use breaking down and the nutrients going down into the soil from that compost mulch that we put down, and it seems to do okay. But compost tea might be a good idea. We may have to try that. Country Dad, it's hard to get people to work. Yes, it is. Country Fun, find a teachable young person. Prayers for a strong back. Thank you, Country Fun. I appreciate that. And yeah, there's young kids out there that want to work, mostly rural people, kids that grow up on a farm. They're not afraid of work. They've been doing it most of their lives. So they're still out there, but getting the general public to go work and be reliable is getting a little tougher.
Someone's at your door.
Especially with all of the vocational classes that used to be in schools. When I was in high school, we had a wood shop, an ag shop, welding shop, auto shop. You could learn a vocation in school. In fact, right out of high school, I got a welding job. So I had a job as soon as I left high school because of the skills I had in school. And Mike Rowe talks a lot about this, that we need to bring those programs back into schools. And they say the funding's not there and all this, but if they made it a priority, they could do it. Right now they make football a priority. You gotta see the big, beautiful new stadium we have here in town. It's kind of like you see on those movies like down in Texas, the Friday Night Lights and all that. Football's everything. So if they wanted to do it, they could do it, in my opinion. Let's see. Yes, teachable young person, you learn the best on the job. So that's what I would do if I owned a business. I would go to the local school or whatever and find somebody that wanted to work, take them under my wing, mentor them, make them my apprentice, and I would teach them the trade and put them to work. See, Marlo, compost tea works great on our garden. Would recommend it. Nice. So, do you make it as you go? Do you have a big container you put it in and just draw off the bottom? And what is your dilution rate, if at all? Or do you just rely on the kind of the metering system to put it into the drip system, or do you just pour it out on the ground, or what? Can you let me know what you do with that, Marlo? Mason Gobier, maybe I'll be able to help truck in a couple years. Yes, I guarantee you will. Your dad's going to put you to work. He's already got you driving grain cart, which that was cool to see last year. Fun on the farm. You don't need to go to college to make a good living. Your folks are probably going to kick me in the butt for saying that, but you can learn, in my opinion, everything you need from your dad and your uncle, your grandpa there on the farm to be successful in life, believe me. But hope his parents don't shoot me for that. Diane Richards, hello Diane. I'm adding 6 new raised beds in putting in drip. What was the name of that company you buy from? It's Drip Works out in California. Bunch of nice products, really good stuff. Can't say enough about DripWorks. They don't sponsor our channel at all. I buy everything I get from them. But you're going to be so pleased with the way those things go together and the amount of options they have, and their materials are fantastic. I do recommend using the drip hose and not the drip tape if you're in a rural area. I've had issues with rabbits chewing through the drip tape trying to get out the water, and then when you turn your system on, you got geysers going everywhere. They have yet to chew through the drip hose. So they have the hose with emitters every foot, and I don't know if you saw in the garden with those drip hoses, it waters out about 3 feet wide when it drips and covers that whole area, 3 feet wide all the way down the garden row. And those are 1 gallon per hour emitters. And I believe they're pressure compensating hoses. I believe, if not, they have them. So if you have changes in elevation, that will affect the pressure in the line, because for every foot drop in elevation, you increase about a half a pound of PSI, half PSI. And every rise you decrease, every foot you decrease about a half a pound PSI per foot vertical. So they have pressure compensating materials that you can use if you're in a hilly area. If you're all flat, you don't need to worry about that. If you've had hard water, I recommend the plug proof or plug resistant emitters, because we've gone to those too. So great stuff though. You're gonna really love their running the drip too. It's turn it on and walk away. It's the best way to go. Marlo, large container and leave for a
Someone's at your door.
Wet ground first absorbs quicker. Not understanding. Large container and leave for a couple of days. Wet ground first absorbs quicker. Oh, for the compost. So she puts all the compost in a large container, leaves it for a couple of days, wet it down, wet the ground first. So it does, because if the ground gets real dry, it gets like a surface tension, like if you pour water on dry ground, you see how it kind of runs off. So she's recommending that you wet the soil first, and then you don't have that problem and it absorbs. Very good tips, Marlo. Thank you very much. Now, does the tea kind of run out of the compost on its own? Do you just collect it as it runs out? Or do you like run water through the compost to like steep it? Sorry for all the questions. Marlo says we'll be using drip hose better for long term. Yes. Will drip hose be better for using long term? I think so. I've had drip in my garden ever since I've been an adult. My dad used to water down the furrow, which you have to have a nice flat furrow to get it all down to the other end and all that. And it takes a while. You got to sit out there and water and chop weeds and move the water around with a shovel, get it to go where you want it to go. And you're watering a lot of ground that you probably don't want to water because you're watering the weeds as well. But drip hose puts the water right where you need it and not where you don't need it. And that helps with your weed population. Because my walk paths, once they dry up, I don't get weeds out there because there's not enough moisture there to germinate once the summer heat comes on. But as long as we're getting rain, we get little bits of weeds in the walk path. In fact, yesterday when I was out hoeing, I got the wheel hoe out and used it. Also got a new part coming for the wheel hoe from Haas Tools. If you haven't heard the story behind this wheel hoe, my grandfather bought it back in 1931. That was the year my dad was born, to use out in the garden. My uncle ended up with it, my Uncle Ed, and he had it up at his place up in the mountains in California, and they had a forest fire come through very close on their property. They saved the house, but a lot of the outer line area burnt, and the wheel hoe burnt up in that fire. And I was up there nosing around one day and found the frame for the wheel hoe. I knew what it was. And I carried that up to the house, and he said, "Do you know what that is?" And I said, "Yeah, I know what it is." And he said, he gave me the story. He said, "You can have it if you want to do something with it." So I took it home and I refurbished the whole thing, rebuilt it, restored it. I made new handles for it and everything. But come to find out, Haas Tools, they now, I don't know if they bought out the company. This was called a Planet Junior is the one I have. I don't know if they bought that company out or they just transitioned into Haas Tools or how that came about. I'll get the story here one of these days. But they still sell parts for that old Planet Junior 1931 wheel hoe. They still sell one that is exactly like it, other than it doesn't say Planet Junior anymore. It says Haas Tools on it. But it's identical. And they sell all the attachments for it and all that. My uncle called me a couple weeks later and found some of the attachments and let me know. I went out and got those, and I restored those as well. But the new attachment that I bought, I have some weed sweeps that my uncle gave me that go on either side, and they're like a sweep that goes through when you're cultivating corn. It just skims underneath the top layer of soil. But there's like a gap in the middle because there's two of them. They come down and then they come down across. And I always get this space in the middle that misses the weeds. I could put them closer, but and then your path isn't as wide. But they make an oscillating hoe, we called it a hula hoe back in the day, that was on a stick, and the hoe, it's like a U-shaped, and the hoe goes back and forth. It oscillates so you can weed forward and backwards. They make a 12-inch oscillating hoe for that wheel hoe. So I bought one of those from Haas Tool. It's on the way. I will show you that when it comes in. I think that's going to work very well out in the walk path when I don't want to drag out the rototiller and go through there. I can just run through it real quick with the wheel hoe. Let's see. Country Dad, is the stump bucket worth it? Absolutely. I've already used it several times here on the homestead. We've planted trees with it. We've dug out small trees with it. I chipped ice with it during the winter. I had some water flow issues, and that was the only thing that would get through the ice. The regular bucket wouldn't touch it. But that concentrated point on that stump bucket broke through the ice, and I was able to channel the water where it needed to go. Otherwise, we would have had a huge flood out back. So yeah, love it. Because of the narrow width of the bucket, you've got more pounds per square inch digging down, and you can dig places that you normally wouldn't be able to dig, and uproot stuff and knock limbs out of the ground or roots and stuff like that. It's been working great. And if you remember in one of my videos, I mentioned we're going to use that thing to plant asparagus, because that's going to be perfect for that. Nice little narrow trench, and we can just dig out what we need to plant the asparagus. That'll be great. So I'm going to love that. It's built really well. I don't know if you're a watcher of Good Works tractors. I watched that. Courtney sells equipment, tractor equipment, and they packaged it beautifully. It came in just a few days. It's very well built. They really thought it out, and I love it. I don't think I could build it for the price that I bought it for. After buying all of the stuff, the material for the John Deere Quick Attach and all that, and then buying the steel, having the steel formed. I wouldn't necessarily have to have it formed. I could just cut it and weld it together. But if you include my time and all that, it just wasn't worth it to make one. So at the price he was selling it, he had a discount going on that month, and I snatched it up, and I'm glad I did. We're gonna really put that thing to work. Let's see. Marlo's checking out. Good night, Marlo. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for being with us. We've been on for 44 minutes. Ruby decided to show up. Hi, Ruby. I think Mom was out collecting eggs. Not my mom, but Ruby's mom, Kelly. She was out putting the guineas away and collecting our nightly batch of eggs. We've been getting about 18 eggs a night. Just about all the chickens are laying right now. The two guineas, the older guineas, you can't call them guinea hens because they're boys. I don't know if it's like peacocks where you call them peacocks are the boys and peahens are the girls. So maybe these are guinea cocks. I don't know what you call them, but they figured out they can fly. And I saw one up on top of the chicken coop yesterday. I wouldn't be surprised if Ruby chased her up there, or him chased him up there. But now they know they can fly, so I'm hoping they stay out of my garden, because they dig around a little bit, but so far they just roam around eating bugs, which is what we got them for. The 6 young guineas that we got are still in the brooder, but it won't be long. We'll be moving them downstairs into the little inside pen in the, Kelly calls it the hospital area of her chicken coop. But we don't have any sick chickens or quarantine chickens in there, so we're using it for other purposes. So it won't be long, they'll be moving down there, and then once they get big enough, we'll integrate them with the boys, and hopefully they show them the ropes.
Motion detected at your front door.
Oh, the dog just set off the camera. Let's see. Marla says, bye, Linda. She subscribed. Awesome. Easy Cooking Linda B. Let's see. Country Fun. We appreciate you showing all of the farm tools and all your knowledge. Thank you. I know about enough to get me in trouble. I like to tell everybody you only get knowledge with experience, and it's not that other people are dumb, they just don't have the experiences that I've had. My buddy Steve all the time raves about how much I know and how much I've taught him and all that, but he knows more about other stuff than I know about, so it's all in what your passion is, or what you've done all your life, or whatever. I've had a lot of experiences that people haven't had with all the different jobs I had after high school, progressing towards my lifelong career that I retired from. But done a lot of stuff, and that's where you get your experience. And if you can't get it there, just go out and do it, folks. If you're interested in welding, go buy a welder and start welding. You'll get good enough to weld stuff, guarantee it. Just got to do it. So, well, we're up to 48 minutes here. See if any more questions are coming in. Enjoyed hanging out with you today in the grain bin. We'll do a little, before I sign off, we'll go outside the bin and walk around a little bit in the area where we'll have internet. Signing off now. Linda B's leaving. Thank you, Linda. We love you guys too. Have a nice evening. Scott Murphy coming online. How you doing, Scott? Ex-co-worker of mine. I think he's still working. Are you still working, Scott? Maybe he retired. But he had in common with me, he was also on the fire department. He's fire chief there in his department. As well, he's volunteer fire chief, as well as working full-time for the same law enforcement agency that I work for. Hell of a dude. Good to see you, Scott. Hopefully, I used to call him Murph. Hopefully, you're retired and loving it. Dozer, that's my nickname. I got that nickname when I was in the fire service. It's kind of a play on my last name. Doesn't mean I sleep a lot. We were on a wildland fire up in the foothills outside of town. It was a Boy Scout camp that was on fire. And it was a steep terrain where we had to cut a fire line. We couldn't get a hose line or a engine down in there. So I got a McLeod, which is the big wide hoe with fingers on it that the Forest Service guys use. I got one of those and I actually cut a fire line down this hill and was able to stop the fire. It was kind of a slow moving grass fire. It was after dark, so it was kind of laid down a little bit. But cut that fire line all the way down to the next road through that grass and stopped the progression of that fire. So after that, they called me Dozer because it was like a dozer going down through there, cutting that line. But it stuck, and I kept that nickname till today. People here in Nebraska don't know me as Dozer, but everybody in California does. So, let's see here. Good to see you too, Scott. Hope you are retired and living life. That is not a profession for old dudes, believe me. Country Dad says, but now they do. Well, I don't have a lot of local folks here that watch the channel. There's a few. In fact, I've got stopped in the grocery store before. Said, hey, aren't you that Mark Kelly Farm guy? And I said, yeah. And then we met a nice old couple in the restaurant the other day. Walked up to Kelly and I and said hello and introduced them. Really nice couple. I forget their names. I'm terrible with names, so if you're watching this, I apologize. You're going to have to introduce yourself a couple more times before I'm able to remember your name. My mind is just toast. Somebody could walk in a room and walk out, and somebody could ask me what color clothes they were wearing. I couldn't tell you. Pretty bad for what used to be a trained observer back in the day working along.
Motion detected at your front door.
Hopefully you guys not bothered by that or can hear that with my alarm going off here. But yeah, good to see you, Scott. We went out. I did a rocket run to California here a couple months ago before spring garden got going. I was able to see a bunch of my coworkers. We got together for dinner. We probably had about 30 people there, and that was a good time. It was good to see everybody. I'm still in contact with few of them on Facebook and such, so we're able to keep up with each other. That's what I use Facebook for, is just to keep up with people. I don't do a lot of the other stuff. Use it basically to follow my kids and keep in touch with family, and I just unfollow everybody else. Now Kelly runs the Mark Kelly Farm Facebook page. I'm not talking about that one. You're all welcome to get on there and ask questions and stuff like that. Oh, sorry, you are hearing that. Well, that's Miss Ruby walking by the front door. She probably wants Mom to let her in the house, so she's setting the camera off. I apologize for it being loud. I usually snooze it when we're out running around out here, so I'm not listening to it. Glad to see you're still here, Sam. All right, I think we're caught up. Had a good time hanging out with you guys. It's such a beautiful night. Let's walk around a little bit. We can show you. Sam says she keeps checking her front door. Let's see if I can flip this camera around and
Someone's at your door.
hanging up on you guys. I hit the button. There we go. So this is the beautiful evening we're having. Oh, Ruby. Say hi to everybody, Ruby. Hello. But yeah, not a stitch of wind. Absolutely gorgeous out here. My kind of night. I love sitting in the Binzebo on nights like this. You can see the clematis is finally blooming over here, going like crazy. And it's mixed in with the what we call the Halley rose here. The mom that raised the family here on this homestead, this was her rose that she took to every place she ever moved. It's been moved with her all her life. She's since passed, but she's the one that wrote the book about living here in Nebraska. I'm sure there's a gorgeous sunset over there that I can't see. We have a hill right behind our place here that blocks the sunset, but one of these days I'll put the drone in and or drone up and we'll see a drone sunset. But just absolutely gorgeous out here tonight. It's nice and cool. It's not humid. Really loving it. I'm probably pushing my luck walking out here like this, but just wanted to show you what it looked like out here tonight. Miss Ruby, are you ready to go in? Yeah? All right. Oh, there's the Binzebo. Kelly's got some more of her flowers planted out here.
Someone's at your door.
The other day, sorry, it's going off again. That's me. But got some more plants and redid the mulch out here. Alrighty then. Hope you enjoyed hanging out with us tonight out in the Binzebo. Thought I'd step out and do a quick live with you guys. We haven't done one in a while. Now we're getting real close to our next giveaway. I need to get into the archives and see who our most active subscriber is, commenting on the channel, and we'll get you something nice. So, thank you, Country Dad. We love it out here. We're 15 miles down a dirt road out of town, and we absolutely love it, except for the little crash we had in our front yard. If you watched our last video, I knew her dad. He was out here picking up the car. Came by, wanted to park his skid steer in the yard while he hauled the car away, and I knew who it was. I'm like, I'll be darned. So, small world. So, love you guys. I'm gonna head back inside. I need to clean the kitchen up after dinner and get settled in. We've got a long day of softball tomorrow. We're gonna, about an hour away, we're gonna run down there. Love you too, Sam. I will tell Kelly you said hello. And Mom's probably still on there, so she probably saw you too. So, till we talk again, folks, stay safe, stay healthy. We love you guys. Bye, Mason. We'll see you soon. We'll catch you later. Signing off.